So, welcome to our first practice of presence. So, this practice of presence is going to take part outside in nature. So, if you have a park, if you have a forest, the ocean, a lake, a pond, even if you're within city limits, you can take part of this in a city park. There are plenty of city parks to be had. It does not require you to go somewhere special in order to practice this state of presence. And for those who are new to the word presence, what presence really means is living in the now. It's embracing this moment because this moment is all there is, no past, no future. So it really helps us to understand that we are focusing in on the moment that we are living in at this time. Within that moment, within that practice of presence while you're in nature, what happens when you're in the moment is you start to create a pocket of stillness. It feels much like spaciousness. That stillness is something that's really important to cultivate because what it does is it creates a separation between the conceptual thinking mind and the deeper essence of who it is that we are. It's almost as if the essence of who we really are is the one that is viewing everything outside. We're not attached to the conceptual mind that thinks and then goes ahead and says whatever it is that, it's thinking, and therefore we end up feeling that because we thought it, this is who we are. This is a separation between both of that. And it's very hard to explain that unless you've had an experience of what it's like to separate yourself from that identity. And that is why presence becomes such an important practice to cultivate daily, because it really helps us to hone in on the importance that this moment is all that there is. We don't allow the past to flood our mind, nor do we put worry into the future. We focus solely on this moment. So while you're in nature, one of the things that's really important to remember is that you're not going to be using your logical mind. The logical mind is something that each and every one of us has been brought up to believe is the most important thing. And if you came from a religious background, if you do have indoctrination, then this is another aspect that was really enforced. Good, bad, right, wrong. None of that is going to happen here within this practice. What is going to happen is that we're going to hone in on our heart, something that the majority of humanity has had closed off for many, many years. If you're wondering why there's so much heart disease in this world, that is one of the biggest culprits. We don't know how to open up and use our heart because our hearts are something that we've closed off due to our experiences in life. For this experience, you are going to want to learn how to open up your heart again so that you can connect to that deeper essence of that one true source of consciousness, that consciousness that starts within you, and then you can have an experience of it outside of you. So while you are sitting within the vicinity of nature or walking within it, you're going to take notice of all the sounds that you hear. So you're not with anybody. This is an exercise that you will be doing on your own, and it's an exercise that you won't have headphones listening to music. What you really want to do is pay close attention to all the sounds that you can pick up and you can hear on the outside. That could be birds, that could be the sound of water, leaves rustling in the wind. It could even be the noise of an airplane up above or traffic. But you want to pay close attention without conceptualizing those sounds into thought forms. Wow, that's loud, or listen to the beautiful sound of the ocean. If something like that happens and it does come up, just release it, let it go, and go back to trying to really focus in on the sounds, paying particular attention. Then you might sort of look at, say, for instance, a tree. You might have a connection with a tree. Again, you're not using the conceptual mind to say things about the tree, such as look at the size of the tree, or I wonder what species that tree is. You are simply becoming consciously aware of the tree. That tree also holds consciousness, it holds spirit. And what we're doing is recognizing each other without the exchange of thought or words. We're looking at each other through the eyes of consciousness. We're having an experience through that consciousness. That consciousness is helping us to become aware of each other on a level that isn't the same as using the thinking mind about it. It's completely different. And there may only be a pocket of time, a few seconds that you have where you're unable to form thoughts or words or a sound of a voice in your head. And then it may dissipate and go away, and you might go back to using the words again. That's okay. As time goes on, you'll notice that the more that you practice, the longer those pockets of stillness will get where no words are needed. What's so beautiful about this practice of an exchange of consciousness between you and whatever it is that you're viewing is that your consciousness is needed in order for that tree to see and be aware of its own beauty. Think about that. It's waiting and has waited thousands of years for you to recognize it through conscious awareness so that it could be made aware of its own beauty. That's how deep this practice really goes. A deepness that can't be felt if we're constantly talking about whatever it is that we're seeing. This is where animism all stems from. The connection that spirit resides within all of the animate and inanimate objects that lie outside of us. That exchange of consciousness that we have, the deep, deep respect between it, is an exchange that opens up the deeper essence of who it is that we are, that can't be had through using the conceptual mind. That's why it is of no use to try and engage it within these practices. And it takes time. Like I said prior, it's like a muscle that hasn't been used for most of our life and lives prior to that. And now we're starting to understand that we need to engage it again if we want to become conscious human beings. So I invite you to come back to this video as many times as you need to listen to the practice and really fully engage yourself in at least giving it a go to see what the difference is between your normal routine of being in nature and the practice of presence while in nature. If you continue this practice on a daily basis or a weekly basis, little by little, you grow it. Your level of consciousness is going to grow as well too. It's going to feel different. Words can just not really explain what actually happens in this instance, but it is something so profound that you'll be wanting more and more of it because it just creates this state of inner peace and calm, even when everything outside of us feels a bit chaotic. And it's something that you'll want to come back to time and time again. So I hope that you'll engage in that. And as always, much love and light.